Yai dai dai, yai dai dai, yai yada dai 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 dai. Yai dai, yai 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 dai dai dai. Yai 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 dai dai yai dai 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 dai. Ay ay ay. Yai yai dai yai dai dai yai yada dai 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 yan dai. Yai dai yai dai yai dai 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 dai. Ay, 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 dum. Yay, ay, 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 tonight. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 tonight. Yay, ay, ay. Ay, 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 and I. Bye, ay, ay, and I, die, 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 die. Yay, die, 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 die. Yay, die, and I, die, 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 yay, die, ay. Yay, die, die, yay, yay, die. Yay, die, yay, die, die, yay, die, die. Yay, die. Ay, 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 Boker Tov, good morning. Here we are, beautiful, crisp fall day. Hopefully we'll have a series of these, although I did see rain in the forecast, but one day of rain I can handle, 3, 4 days of rain I cannot. I'm sure you are also feeling similar, unless for some reason you really like rainy days. But for today, we have a beautiful day outside. The sun is shining. It's time for a little Torah. It's always good to learn. And so together we learn. We learn about Torah. So I will be with you. I've been a little absent just because of, well, I had a doctor's appointment, things at school, things at karate, parent life. And so I appreciate the flexibility of being able to, Rabbi Jay, to cover whatever it is. And so I took his day today. So you will not be getting mindfulness and midot. You won't be getting some stretching exercise and activity, but maybe we will exercise our minds together. So I set this up as a 3-part kind of teaching. Today, Wednesday, and Friday. Not to say I won't be here Thursday, but each of my regular teaching days for this week. And so we are at Parshat Noach, or Noah, as we know it better, Noah's Ark, the story of Noah's Ark. And there's always these themes, right? Righteousness, wickedness, rainbows, flood. Like, these are always what comes to mind when we hear or we think dove, or we think raven. Very particular pieces of the story. But what I want to impress upon us is this 3-part thing. I was going to do it in 2 parts, but then when I realized that I would be teaching today, I made it into 3 parts. So today's teaching, which will be walking with God in a corrupt kind of world. Tomorrow's will be after the flood, finding renewal in the wreckage. And Fridays will be something with the rainbow. The rainbow, living between storms. I think that's what I called it. So let's dig in. Walking with God in a corrupt world. We are still here, though the world had some promise and some miraculous unraveling, where live hostages were brought home. We're still waiting for 16 who have been taken of life, bodies that still long to be returned. And imagine just how those families are feeling. I can't even, these live hostages were returned, and yet they can't even get their dead loved ones back for proper burial. While the excitement is still the excitement because it's our people, but their people are still longing to be returned. And that is part of the corruption in the world that we live in. And it's hard to navigate, and we talk all the time about holding two things at once. So this week's Parsha, when the Torah introduces Noah, the story of Noach, it gives him one of the most intriguing compliments in all of Torah. It says, Noah was a righteous man, blameless in his generation, and Noah walked with God. Righteous, blameless, walked with God. Immediately, rabbis argue, what does this even mean? Was he truly righteous? Or in comparison, he was righteous to the corrupt society around him? We always think about, or I always think about, is that person actually good? Or do they just stand out as the good one because everybody else is terrible? Or, who is the ringleader over there? Is that the only person that is upholding this group of people? Or do they each in their own right deserve merit for goodness? Or they just kind of tag along? So, in the world that they were living, it was crazy, right? It was, we're talking about already, we're only one, second Parsha in, so one in from the story of creation. And we've had Adam messed up already, Cain already messed up, the stories of Sodom and Gomorrah, well, that's messed up. The world is wicked and corrupt, the Tower of Babel, all of these things happened already. They're happening. And wow, Noah seems so great. But is he really great? Or is he good enough? Could he have been righteous plus? Or is he just better than the rest? Rashi suggests that Noah lived in Abraham's generation. If he did, had he lived in that generation, I would agree with Rashi, or Rashi questions, his virtue might not have been seen as so extraordinary. The people of Abraham's generation were, whoa, right? And so Rashi's thinking, okay, I don't really think that he's all that he cracked up to be. But others like Rambam, the Ramban said, no, Noah's righteousness is greater because it flourished in darkness. Rashi was probably more correct. You are who you are because of who you're with and where you are in that time. But Ramban's like, I don't think so. I think he's so much better because look at the time that he's in. His righteousness is so much greater because we were in a period of time of corruption, of terror, of terrible people. This sounds to me like a much more deeply modern argument. In the world we live in, the moral compass spins wildly, crazy. News cycles reward outrage over reflection. Social media, news outlets elevates conflict over compassion. Maybe the truest measure of goodness is the ability to stay decent, even when decency is mocked, right? So, hey, that's a decent person. To get a compliment, to say that you're a decent person in the world that we live in, wow, you're doing pretty good. Because in the world we live in, there's always something to red flag. Nah, they're a good person until they open their mouth. Oh, they're a good person until, did you see? They couldn't even help this one, or, they're only for themselves. You could be the most decent person ever, but God forbid you should step over the line. Somebody else is going to label you. Nope, no good. Torah tells us that Noah walked with God. He didn't sprint ahead. He didn't stand still. He walked steady, deliberate, faithful. To walk with God today might mean to move through the noise and chaos of the world with your integrity intact. It might mean not letting cynicism make us smaller or meaner. Noah's Ark wasn't built overnight. Years passed as he measured beams and planks and sealed the gaps, and the details. If you read this parsha, the actual details are excessive. But maybe it's not, the IKEA directions for building the ark. Maybe it's the spiritual instructions that take us to this ridiculously, or it feels ridiculously excessive manual. But we know that righteousness is slow work. Building an ark takes time, for sure. Each of us in some way is building an ark. A home, a community, a moral framework, something that we're working on. Something that will float when the world floods with fear and cruelty. I don't know. I feel like we've been on an ark for so long already. We're seasick. We have sea legs. We're unstable. The roughness of the water, the coldness of the water hitting us every time is eye-opening, even though it's more of the same. Our arks are not made of gopher wood. They're made of courage. They're made of empathy. They're made of steadfastness. Is that a word? Steadfastness. So the question we begin to bring into this week is, what does your ark look like? What are you building to keep hope afloat when the rain begins to fall? Here's what I think our coming in for a landing or our driving home moment. Reminder. Intention. Is Noah teaches that righteousness is not perfection. Righteousness is not perfection, it's persistence. To be persistent takes work. It takes effort. It takes intention. And to walk with God is to keep building when the world stops believing. We need to build because the world isn't believing us that we deserve to be here. The wickedness, the corruption that is, and yet there's still us. There's still good in the world. There's you, there's me, there's us, and there are more of us. I just want to believe that we can restore hope in humanity. I want to believe that after all the weathering in the storm, that our arks will keep us afloat. That our arks will be able to have open doors for conversation, open hearts for love. I want to believe that there'll be a time when the storm ends and there'll be a rainbow of trust and truth. Thank you for joining me this morning. Paula, Elisa, Jeneba, and Reb Tova, Bonnie, all the way from Poland, Bet, Rabbi Jay, whoever else didn't check in. Thank you for being here this morning. Let us remember We're not striving for perfection. We just want to be persistent. Let's continue to build together because the world will stop believing, but we'll still be here. Am Yisrael Chai. We are one human family, one heart of abundant love. We love you, and we'll continue this teaching and this learning tomorrow morning at 9:30. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. 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 Ora Avinu Chai, Ora Avinu Chai. Ora Avinu, Ora Avinu, Ora Avinu Chai.